It's more important for a photographer to have very good shoes than to have a very good camera.
I met somebody at the gallery and he said to me, I own a photograph of yours, and when I get up in the morning, I look at it and it makes me happy. And I thought, that's very nice. It meant I wasn't completely useless. Hey, welcome to the Street Shots Photography Podcast. Sorry, this is Antonio.
And this is Ward.
Sorry. Episode 229 from the Fonz. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was looking at my clock and I just how long can I sustain that without sounding like an idiot? And pretty much
Not that long.
Not that long.
That's good.
So episode 229 for the end of April, which is 229, also happens to be the area code of, where are we? Southwest
corner of Georgia.
Yeah. The numbering plan includes includes cities of Albany, Adel, Leesburg, Bainbridge, Americus, Vienna, Fitzgerald, and a few other places. And it was created on August 1st, 2000 in a three-way split of area code 912. So there we go. We're maintaining.
A big deal.
That was a big deal. Yeah. Three-way split. Oh, I was trying to remember when New York split to 718, and that was a big deal. We went from 212 to 718, and I remember everybody was like, "Oh, what is this 718? What do we have to do now?" Because you didn't have to dial the area code for a certain amount of time, and then
Right.
And now
we all do.
Yeah. So anyway. Welcome to from those people from Georgia who are listening from that area code. But yeah, what are we? Episode 229 for the end of April 2025. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me, Word. Hey.
Thank you for picking up on your end.
And
We're all just
everything
thankful.
Right, we are
so
thankful. We are very thankful. Yeah. Well, how are you? How are
I'm
things?
doing well. Yeah, I'm doing well. The weather's sort of warming up. We had a nice day on the one nice day on the weekend, and then
what is nice for you guys? Like, what's the temperature?
68, 70 Fahrenheit.
All right. That's reasonable.
And sunny. Yeah.
Right.
And then rainy and like 43 on Sunday. So,
are you getting enough rain?
All the not really, but the rain was definitely welcome, and it was a slow drizzle, so thankfully it soaked what it needed to soak, I think, and so that's good.
Yeah.
But it also meant that we didn't have to do yard work, so that was the plus side for me.
Yeah, we're in a bit of a drought here too. We've had some brush fires stuff. There was one in New Jersey a couple of days ago that I think it closed off a road because it was so intense, and then we got a lot of the smoke because the weather was coming from the west, so it blows over here. Not enough to make it made the air quality questionable, but not so bad. But I can see that we're already in a drought. I went to I'm going to go to Greenwood Cemetery to photograph birds. There's a pond area there that is where a lot of the birds come, and it's like a third full. I mean, usually it's packed with water. It's very wet water there. Sorry.
That's the only kind.
And it's just empty, pretty much. I don't know what happened to the fish what do they do? I don't
know. Depends on the fish. I think some die off, and some just
die
go
off,
to where there's enough oxygen, and just I don't know.
Well, I felt bad for them. So, but all right. So 70. That sounds pretty reasonable for where you are. We were like in the 70s today. Tomorrow's supposed to get to 80 here. So a little summery kind of thing. And they're already starting with the ice cream trucks. Mr. Softy is on his
Mr. Softy
on his rampage. If Mr. Softy can be on a rampage,
the ice cream truck rampage.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear. That's the one thing you can't hear it, but I might be able to hear it when I'm editing while I'm talking. Mr. Softy Tunes. I really would love to go to their house and sit in front of their house with the truck and play Mr. Softy tones for hours. But that's me just being vindictive, you know. I know the guys have to make money, you know. How else are you going to know that there's a Mr. Softy
for the
truck
kids.
out there?
The kids, they love the ice cream. So
it is for the kids. But you know what? Today's a school day, right? And this guy was out here at like 1:00 in the afternoon, and like, there are no kids.
No.
There are no kids out here. What the heck? Excuse me, Mr. Softy, you're a little early in your timing. Anyway,
right.
Not a first world problems.
Try and
have
catch
Mr.
the
Softy
people
tricks.
on the benches, you know, along the road, whatever.
Yeah, people want to, grown-ups like ice cream too. It's not even ice cream, it's custard. It's frozen custard.
Oh, okay.
Ice cream is ice cream. Frozen custard is anyway. Wow, I'm sounding like a really grouchy, grumpy old guy.
We'll have to do something about that. We're going to have to, move you somewhere else or something.
Someplace else, yeah. It's funny because, I don't know if anybody heard the episode last week, but I'll re-mention it that I'll be moving to Lincoln, Nebraska, of all places, believe it or not, in the middle of June. And I'm in the middle of packing right now. I wouldn't say in the middle of it. I'm sort of right at the beginning, but I've got a lot to do. And I'm already starting to look at things around here and say what I'm going to miss and what I'm not going to miss. Mm-hmm. And, they're about equal right now. There's a lot of things I'm not going to miss. Certainly, people who, lean on their horns all day long because they think that's the way their car is going to move faster.
Right.
And sirens out my window. There we go.
I find sirens soothing. When I visited you, I liked. There's some,
I'm gonna just let it play for a minute so everybody can experience it. There we go.
There we are.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, it's getting louder. It's getting louder. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, enough of that. I'm not gonna miss that so much. So. But it's funny to go around and think about the things I'm going to like having there and that I don't have here and vice versa, so there's a whole bunch of things, but I'm in the process, I should say, of packing, which is really an interesting experience so far, especially because I've been getting rid of a lot of Elizabeth's stuff. And I let that go for a few years because I really didn't have any incentive to remove her stuff. And that's bringing up a lot of things, So it's a bit of a process to go through stuff. Some stuff I don't really actually have a problem with. I've been taking apart her desk area where she had her computer and stuff like that, and a lot of the stuff that's there has no real connection to her. I don't look at the stuff and instantly think about her, so it wasn't so bad to get rid of that. But there is this sort of emotional toll when I look at all the boxes that I'm taking, and I go to a donation place called Big Reuse, and you can drop pretty much anything there, and they resell it to for charity. But when I get all these boxes in the car and I pull them out and I'm looking at them, and that suddenly begins to that sort of takes an emotional toll on me in some way. It all sort of accumulates, even though the individual items don't necessarily mean anything. But it's when I look at the whole thing, at how someone's life can be not reduced to, but
cast into
whatever.
Yeah.
And I know that I a lot of her baking stuff I am getting rid of because she hoarded tons of cookie cutters and cake things and stuff like that. And
I married one of those too. So
yeah, well,
that's the whole lot of stuff.
I figured that someone will be able to use that stuff and make new cakes and stuff like that. That's not a big thing, but yeah, some of the decorative stuff that she had that wasn't really my taste and stuff. But again, it was hers, So anyway, this whole process has been packing up my stuff, throwing out. I'm also, tossing out a lot of my stuff or donating it, and thinking what needs to go into storage and the whole thing. Everybody, anybody who's moved knows this stuff. But I'm moving halfway across the country. I'm not moving, across town. And if I didn't mention this before, I have not moved I've lived in New York all my life. If I've moved, it's within, in some way, almost within walking distance, from where I've been before, or subway distance, not too far. So this is going to be a real change for me. The thing that so everything is moving along, right? Like little bits and pieces are falling together. I got the movers set up. I've got Angie and her kids are going to actually fly over here, and then we're going to caravan back in a couple of cars. The kids are going to use my car. That can be really
fun. I'm looking forward to that. That would be fun. Yeah.
Well, they might have to actually go ahead of us.
Okay.
Excuse me, because I'm going to have the cats. We're going to have the cats. So we're going to take the minivan and unpack it with my cameras and computers. And the kids are going to have my car. This actually, it's been a whole process to try to figure out who's going to drive what.
Logistics.
Yeah. And our first stop, we're going to go to Toledo, Ohio, and get we got a hotel there that can take cats, and then the next leg. But I think the kids are going to go further than us faster. And we meet up in Iowa City, and then from Iowa City, we then go to Lincoln, Nebraska. So it's going to be a few hops, depending on how the cats do. And one of the things about cats is I need to take I got 2 cats. I got to stick them in the car and actually start driving them around here to get them, see what happens, So anyway, sorry, it's a long, involved thing. But it is making me think about the stuff I need to pare down. And like as I get closer to the date, I'll probably start paring down even my computer equipment. Maybe I'll be doing podcasts on my laptop and stuff, which is fine. But it's just starting to think about like all the stuff that has to go. And I've got a lot of stuff. Holy crap! I mean,
well, you pile it neatly because none of it was in danger of falling on me when I was sleeping in there. So you pack stuff away. It's all good.
I know. I got all my starships I got to deal with. I got a new starship that's going to come in some point in the fall. I ordered a giant die-cast USS Enterprise A, NCC
Enterprise
701A. Or it might
the nacelles on that one.
It's just maybe the refit, but it's got its own lighting. It do you remember Star Trek: The Motion Picture at the beginning?
Yeah.
When they fired up all the lights on the Enterprise. Yeah. It's got all that same lighting.
The dry dock.
So it lights itself, right? It's a USB powered lighting thing. It was a little pricey.
You have to show me pictures, man.
Yeah, I know.
If I were a single man.
Anyway, it's part of the whole process. So sorry to go on like this about this. I mean, there's
that's all right.
The camera gear and all that other stuff. That's going to be interesting because I'm going to have a storage space. So a lot of my ancillary equipment will have to go there or into the basement. Just like I can't physically have it near me because of the space I'm moving into is a little smaller. So I have to make some choices about what I need to have access to. But I've got time. Like after I move there and just get all the stuff there, then I can kind of figure it out. It's just right now, it's just get everything in boxes, make sure it's padded and stuff like that. And but I am looking forward to this, and I've been trying to find. I've been looking at photography or the kind of photography I think I might be able to do out there. And whether it's street photography in whatever way I can, or like landscape, or abandoned structures, or just whatever else. I've been seeking out a lot of those good pictures.
You take pictures of cows too.
I take pictures of cows.
You have.
You're talking about that one shot of the cow.
One shot of the cow. That's you've done it. You could go back to it. It could be something out there.
A cow portrait. Yeah. I remember that. Well, I didn't see any cows while I was there, so I did see bison.
Oh, I'm sure there's some around. Oh, yeah, bison are cool. Well, bison you don't want to fool around with. Yeah,
no, they were far away, but I saw bison. I thought that was kind of cool to see bison, like just very out in a field someplace. I was like, oh, they weren't in a cage or something like that. So anyway, So that's what's going on. That's, but yeah, I got some things to talk about. It seems like you got some things to talk about.
I got a few things. I can't remember them right now, but let's.
This is the show.
This is the show where we try and remind each other what it is we're talking about. So we were talking about your future, like in the further term, a couple of months down the road. Your very recent past. Let's talk about on the weekend. What I understand you went somewhere. You had a little.
Oh, right. So I went to. Let me just bring up the website so I can actually say it correctly. Hang on.
Oh, there is a proper pronunciation.
Well, it's called AIPAD, AIPAD. It stands for the Association of International Photography Art Dealers, and they have an annual photography show. It's just called the Photography Show. And I went last year. I think I talked about it last year, and I went this year. I actually bought a 4-day pass, but I only went for two. I only went for 2 days. Although I still got a bargain. Apparently, Keith went with me on Friday, and 1-day pass was not cheap, so I did get a discount. So yeah, I went for 2 days. The first day I went with Keith, and Friday I went with Keith, and Saturday I went by myself. And it's in this place called the Armory. I think it's just called the Armory on Park Avenue and 66th Street. It's literally an armory that takes up the entire block. It's an armory from the Gilded Age. So it's got the ramparts.
This is Manhattan or Brooklyn?
Yeah, it's Manhattan. Yeah. It's, you walk in and it's like it in itself is like history when you look at it. The wooden panels and the paintings of the generals and the rooms, and there's even like a little cannon back there. There were phone booths there, which I took some pictures of. And then you go in and it's a very it's one full New York block's worth of space.
Wow.
And it's sort of a domed or curved dome ceiling inside, but the photography show is just one floor. And there were like, I don't know, I would say over 100 booths, maybe more. Each one of them being a different gallery or a photographer's own work. And these are, you're going to ask us something? Sorry.
No, just Armory. Is that where they have the big track meet? That's at the Armory, isn't it?
Track meet?
That doesn't.
No,
they
don't think so.
No, okay. All right. I thought maybe there was.
I don't know, actually. But it doesn't, I mean, like you're talking about like people running? Like track and
that they have like an annual track and field thing. They've got a track, like a 200-meter track or something that goes around it. Like there's a big gymnasium.
You know what? I do not know. It would be big enough.
I knew I was
saying it would be big enough. It would be big enough. Yeah, because it's a large space. It could be like a film studio. I've always. I haven't gone. I went last year for the first time. I think the year before I might have gone.
Okay.
The year before I went because it was on Fifth Avenue. So I've been going for the past 2 years. But before that, like the pandemic kicked in, and I hadn't been to the show in a while. But the great thing about this, you're going to see. I was looking at contemporary photography, old photography, famous pictures you've seen, in photo books and whatnot. It's all over the place. It's a mishmash of stuff. Every gallery has a different selection of work depending on, who they represent. And it was pretty, it's like just going to a museum, for, like 6 or 8 hours and just seeing, pictures, and luckily you could talk to the gallery owners and stuff like that. And you get to handle prints where the prices of the prints themselves are like $12,000 or $30,000, and they've got them in those little bins that you sort of flip through them, and you're like, here's a Bill Brandt image, right, or a Edward Weston, and you're looking at it, and it's like, and the prices always depend on like when the print was made and who made it and what edition it is. But I did see a big version of Ansel Adams' Moonrise Hernandez, New Mexico. It was larger. It was larger than I usually have seen. I don't know if it was one of his earlier prints, because I know as he continued to print that image, he made the sky darker and darker towards the later prints. So this one, the print, the sky was dark, but not as like that rich black. But it was a big print, giant, right? And I looked at the price. Take a guess at the price. Just
I have no idea. Five figures.
Just say a number.
30 grand.
You're not even close.
No. Okay.
$650,000.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah.
I have the poster of that, and I noticed when I was changing tires on all the vehicles last weekend, I don't know what it was. It was a gift.
Anyway,
wow.
That's the nice thing is that sometimes the prints will have like the history of the print, and so you can read about it, and so everything's a little bit different, But there was a lot of contemporary photographers there, some new style of stuff. I actually have something to talk about that in a second. Let me just get this overview through here. I didn't meet any, I didn't see any famous photographers. I really wasn't looking. It was more like, the first day Keith and I were walking around talking about photography and stuff like that. And then, and then the next day I thought I might come there a third day, but I didn't. The second day I was just walking through to catch the stuff that I didn't catch with walking with Keith. And, there was one gallery that had old photos of Matthew Brady and Alexander Gardner and whatnot.
Oh, I'd love to see those Civil War.
It was a small gallery. Yeah, but those were original pictures. It had one of the presidents, which I can't remember his name. I made a little video, which I might put up on YouTube of me just walking through. And there was one framed picture of Lincoln with a letter next to it. And it was a letter written by Lincoln. And it was an original letter. And I'm standing there next to it. I'm standing near within 12 inches of something that was in Abraham Lincoln's hand.
And that print was that it was a plate, right? So
it was a photograph. No, it was paper. Yeah. It was a paper negative or a paper thing. And then his print next to it. They had mounted them together in a nice display. And it was, I could have just touched, I could have touched it. There was nothing blocking me from doing it.
Yeah.
Of course I didn't do that.
No.
But that kind of power was there in seeing cool. that, yeah. So there's a bit of that. It was a whole bunch of experiences, but I enjoyed myself. I didn't buy a book. I didn't buy a single book for a couple of reasons. First of all, I didn't actually see a bunch. I didn't see any books that I wanted. There was one by what's his name? Daido Moriyama. Yeah, it was called Record. I think it was Record.
Yeah,
number 2.
Yeah. Okay.
From the Thames and Hudson. Those are the publishers. And I thought, well, you know what? I mean, what stopped me was that if I bought it, I would have to carry it around for the rest of the show, and that was one thing. And then I would obviously have to pack it. I've already packed up all my photo books, so I didn't think about that. I figured, Thames and Hudson, they could just buy, through their website anyway if I wanted to. So, but there weren't any other real books there that I wanted. And actually, I noticed I had a lot of them myself. So,
yeah,
it's like the ones that I wanted.
Hey,
to,
welcome to the hobby.
Yeah, there were some prints. We're in like the $5,000 range, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. But if anybody's in New York or wants to come to New York during the springtime, I highly recommend going to the show at least one day. Plan your trip around it and come to New York and go to the AIPAD show. It's well worth it to see all this. It's just a concentration of photography, and you don't really get a chance to see it that much. I mean, you do see like little bits and pieces from other people. It's not like watching, there was a Larry Fink gallery there. Someone had cool. Like a whole selection of Larry Fink's work up there, which was fun to look at. And it was set up like a gallery. So you saw a lot of everything was kind of like the same size, printed and whatnot. And then there was some other contemporary stuff. And actually one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, that, all the traditional photography that was there was really interesting, and I can resonate with some of it, and maybe not all of it. But then there are these photographers who are doing these sort of techniques with the images actually being objects, right? The photos themselves, or the what's hanging on the walls, this object that has a technique to it which incorporates a photograph in it, if I'm making any sense.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's like fabric like in a frame, and there's all these photos that are stitched to it, and there's like Native American cloth on it, and or there's another photograph that looks like it's behind glass. Actually, that was a pretty cool technique. It looked like it was behind frosted glass. And I'm guessing what they did was took a print behind it, and like a print of a vase, and they curved the print behind it, and they stuck it behind this sort of frosted plexiglass or something like that. And so it looked like there was a 3-dimensional object behind it, which that actually I thought was pretty cool. But still, I began to wonder about this whole idea of these techniques, these art techniques to make photographs look like something else. There were some photographs, I put my fingers in quotes, that look like abstract paintings, right? Like they were just like these colored squares. And I didn't dive enough into it because I wasn't very interested in those. But I didn't see the photograph in it. I didn't see that the actual thing was a picture. But so anyway, what's your opinion about that? If you know what I'm talking about.
Well, there's some photographers around here, one or two that I know of, that do printing on vellum and then gold gilding, like gilding the print, so the thing has this kind of see-through quality, and there's a layer with the gold leaf behind it, and it has this almost three-dimensional quality, and the print itself is like this precious thing. Or another guy that I know took pictures of, and I don't remember specifically, I could be wrong, but my impression was he took pictures of models, relatively tasteful, but they were propped up in such a way that they looked like religious iconography, and then they were put in a little alcove, wooden alcove thing that looked kind of elevated them and they look like the Virgin Mary or something. Not in a profane way, just in a kind of referential way. And so, this incorporation of, I think it's great. I've got nothing against it. It's just, for me, it's about taste, and it's about execution. And it elevate. It doesn't have to be about the photograph, but as the object itself, does it resonate? Does it do something? Does it create a reaction? And that's what I would go for.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I wasn't against it, and I'm not. I hope I didn't sound like that.
No, but
it's sometimes I don't explain this. Like the one behind the frosted glass, I thought was really, like, there was a part of that was cool, and really incorporating a photograph in such a way to make it look like an object that was there, hidden or obscured by this glass, and it was very compelling to look at for a while. And there were others that, the ones I was talking about, stitching in the clothing and whatnot. But let me go back. Actually, the one that was stitched into the clothing had a lot of. It was I think a Native American gallery, and this one had a lot of photographs that were sort of stuck onto it, like a lot of them. And the individual photographs were not that good. They were very snapshotty, but they weren't even like snapshotty. They were just like a lot of repetition. And I guess the whole thing together made became a piece. Did it elevate the photography? Actually, I don't think it did. But did the photography elevate the piece? I'm not well versed enough in that to say one way or the other. I wasn't compelled by it, but I can see how one could be. But I'm sorry, I'm sort of thinking this through right now a little bit, but I was thinking, like, what would I do? Like, what, my thinking is not that way. I'm very, very
me neither.
traditional things like that. I can appreciate stuff that is good. I also sometimes raise an eyebrow and think, well, is the artist doing this just to like for the technique part? Like is this just a bunch of
craft?
And then suddenly put it in a frame and hang it in a gallery, and it becomes $75,000 piece of art. And is it elevating anything? And of course, I guess that's the constant question we have for debate about art in itself. Like, if it's valuable to somebody, then that's great because that's what counts. So, I mean, I'm not trying to make a blanket statement that this stuff is, bad or it's all good or something like that. But sometimes I just got the feeling with certain things that it was being done like it was just being done to do this thing because it was cool. And everybody was like, oh, this is so nice. And they put it in a frame and they hang it on the wall and put a light on it and put it in the AIPAD show. And suddenly it's this big deal. And I'm like, what am I missing? So I don't know. I mean,
well, do you think it's a movement? Like, is it like there's more this year than last year, or it's just just experimenting?
Again, it's hard to tell because I don't know. This is not every gallery in the world. It's a small sampling of them. Or America, I should say. It's because mostly American galleries. So I couldn't tell. But these pieces would stand out now and then, as to this thing. Like the one with the colored bands that looked like squares. And I was like, I didn't see, again, to be fair, I didn't go up close to them to see what they were. But the photography part did not come through. Maybe there was a photographic technique. Maybe they were photographs of colors or something like that were then, sandwiched together to create these bigger pieces. Those are the ones I'm sort of like, I was like, but again, that's not my thing, but of all the, actually, what's funny? That gallery was also from Brooklyn, the one I'm talking about. Yeah. So it was like, if you walked around and you saw, this gallery with photographs, this one with photographs, this one with, collages, and all of a sudden you had this one with these squares, right? Which stood out to me as like one that one of these things is not like the other.
Right.
And that was, I don't know who the photographer was. And, I'm not trying to insult the photographer. It's just, I didn't see this thing. I saw it standing out as something that I didn't quite get. And I'm more like, as I'm talking about this, I'm already like, I feel like I'm digging myself into a hole in some way. Yeah. Because,
this is something you saw and piqued your interest a little bit. And I think thought-provoking's worth it, I think.
Yeah, I guess if I'm talking about it, then it's
well, something that was definitely going through your mind.
Yeah. Well, then I guess that's the point of the art in some way.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say anything. There's obviously photographs that I don't care for, and there was photographs I did care for. I'm more of the traditionalist kind of stuff, but every now and then there was something that I was like, oh, that's an interesting take on it. There was one photographer whose name I can't remember, and if I couldn't pronounce it. I made a video of it, which I might put on YouTube. These large size images of windows looking out onto like what looked like a Mediterranean Sea, and the pictures had the edges of the windows, so it looked like these look like actual windows. And the quality of the image was such that because they were so large, and there were two of them, they were like two windows, and they were showing the same scene, and the water line was basically the ocean and the sky, and then the windows had some window drapings on it and stuff like that, and there was some stuff on the window ledge. They looked so real. And I said, if I had those in my house, I'd be staring at them all day long.
That's cool.
Because it almost looked three-dimensional. It looked like the water was moving, even though it wasn't. It was a perfectly like, and these two window images lined up so that the horizon was the same as if there were two windows next to each other. And I stood there and I was like, I would buy these so that I could look at them all day long. and that's so interesting because the photograph is a reminder of reality. Like it's reminding me of like I've seen the Caribbean, I've seen the Mediterranean, and I loved looking at it, and it's giving me a reminder of that. And it's almost like the photograph, it's like the photograph is nothing. It's like, what is it showing? It's like I'm just looking through the photograph or something like that. So those were, and that was very those very traditional style pictures, just really, really well printed. And in perfect color. There was one that was also a sunset one, but that was I don't think it was successful for me. But these blue sky ones, oh my gosh, they were beautiful. I didn't look at the price, but it was just in case I was tempted. But I did 2 days worth. It was worth walking through. I recommend it highly, and. Yeah. Oh, I did come across, this is what I wanted to mention. So there is, I'll put it in the show notes. There is a YouTube channel I follow from this gallery in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And the gallery is called Scheinbaum and Russek Limited. Their website is photographydealers.com. And I happened upon their I was just walking around. I wasn't looking at the names of the galleries when I was walking through. But I was walking through one, and there was a lot of contemporary, or not contemporary, traditional photography in there. They have a really nice collection. Anyway, I'm walking through, and I'm looking at these pictures, and there's a Lee Friedlander picture there, and I'm really digging it, and there's a few others. And actually, as I'm looking at the Lee Friedlander, all of a sudden, the woman comes over and puts a red dot on it. It means that it's sold. I'm like, oh, I would have bought that. Or so I really love that picture. I've been looking at it. She goes, you must be good luck for us because it just sold. I'm like, fantastic. And I was talking to her for a minute, and then this gentleman, David Scheinbaum, came over, and he's like, well, he was talking to her. I was like, what happened? He's like, well, he helped us sell this print. And I said, and I looked at him. I said, I recognize him. I was like, oh. I follow you on YouTube. I watch your videos. And he had a good laugh about it. He's like, oh, we've been trying to make YouTube videos for a while. We haven't done it for a while. And we talked back and forth for a little bit. And it was really enjoyable. I said, oh, I'm going to be moving closer to you. And this is where I said, Lincoln, Nebraska. He said, oh, that's not really close to us. I'm like, it's a heck of a lot closer than here.
New York City.
And then I found out that him and his wife are from Brooklyn. So they moved out and opened up the gallery in Santa Fe. But his YouTube channel, or their YouTube channel, excuse me, but it's mostly him talking about, like, one of the videos, it's called Straight Talk on Collecting Photography, Packing Your Artwork. And, it's really just him, standing in front of a bookshelf full of books and showing prints. And he has a really good way of speaking. And so I highly recommend watching their channel. And keep an eye out for new videos. They said they'll be working on it, but it was really fun to talk to him for a while. And he goes, I said, I said to me, you're a celebrity. He goes like, well, Michael Stipe was here. You saw his work. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I'm like, I don't watch him on YouTube. It's like I watch you. Right. So to me, you're the celebrity. So I ended up giving him my card, and he said, I'll put you on the mailing list and stuff like that. It's like, thank you. So, but. It was so like that kind of stuff, like to see people like at that level. I mean, I'm not a schmoozer too much, but
no, but there's you can guy you actually recognize and know his work and enjoy and appreciate. And that's good.
Yeah, and I've learned a lot from watching his channel and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, all in all, well spent couple days. I didn't spend the full 4 days, or I didn't go on the Sunday because I realized I do need to like pack and stuff like that. And it was just nice to have 2 days off of not thinking about moving and stuff, right. And walk around with my cameras and whatnot. So yeah, all in all, a good. Well, I got an email from Jeffrey. Hey, Jeffrey Saldinger.
Hey,
how Jeffrey. Are you? He said we missed each other, I guess, because he went the day before. I guess he went, I don't know if he went on the Friday or the Thursday, because it was, actually, if he had an early ticket, it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, yeah, I think he went on the Thursday. Anyway, we missed each other. Sorry, Jeffrey. It would have been nice, but But anybody else from who's listening to the show, did they? If you guys went to the show, let me know. Be interested in hearing your what your impressions are of it. So.
My turn?
Yeah, your turn. Yeah. So you've been putting up you've been sorting through your pictures from Japan, and
actually before I get to that, just one thing that I did photographically speaking is I got up early on Saturday and went to the camera store to see a relatively local photographer. He used to live in Calgary. He lives now north, like 3 hours north of here, near a lake out in the country, Olivier Dutré. And I bought one of his books years ago, I think in about 2020, maybe it was before the pandemic. And it was, he did, at that time, he was doing 4x5 view camera field work. And it was pictures of the prairies and trains and grain bins and stuff like that. The thing itself kind of thing. Very nice.
You must send me a link to him, because I must look at those pictures to study what my possibilities are.
Yeah. Possibilities. Well, he only goes out in the wintertime. So.
Well, that's fine.
Okay.
No, but I want to see pictures like that. I need to see pictures like that. So
he was talking about keeping motivation and what to do as your creativity ebbs and flows. It was a really good talk. And he's had a lot of phases in his life with places he's moved. He originally grew up in Belgium, and so he came to Canada, and then he had all these different phases of different types of work, working in film and small format, and then large format and digital. And now that he's living out in the country, he has a septic system where he lives, so he can't do he can't do his photography, chemical photography. So he's gone back to digital, and it hasn't done anything in terms of the way his images are presented and how creative they are. I mean, he definitely has a style, and it's good to see that. And whether he does film photography or digital photography, it doesn't make any difference to me as a viewer, because that inspiration, that feeling, and that depth of tone and stuff that he was getting from his 4x5 view camera, he's getting from his digital. So it was just great. I sat and talked with him for a while. He's a racing fan too. He saw my hat, which was a racing hat. So we shared quite a bit on that. But anyway, we were going to say,
I was going to ask you, can you share maybe one or two things about motivation that he might have, that he said, or one thing that struck you as
that's a good question. Let me just see. Well, you come out of a talk like that with a general feeling, right? For him, it was changes in his personal circumstance made him change his tack a little bit. So one thing that he has been, a characteristic of his is, once he does something, it's spent, it's done. He makes the print, he'll never do it again, right? And so he has this one thing where, and other photographers have done this, where he had, I think it was a Mamiya 645. He wanted to take a picture of the moon at night over 2.5 hours. So along with this big kind of arc, lights or bright smear over the sky. And so he was talking about, did all the calculation. He wanted to know figure out where the moon was going to be in the frame at the beginning and at the end, and deal with reciprocity failure with the film and all that kind of stuff, and do the calculation. And his picture that turned out was amazing, great, fine. And he's like, I'm done. I did that. I made the print.
Okay.
He has no desire to do that anymore. He doesn't want to be up in the middle of the night, taking pictures of the moon anymore. So that's very interesting. So, and his style is very characteristic. And the way I would look at it, from my point of view, is it would seem kind of limiting, because his images all have this same kind of feel to them. And I would think I would run out of gas with subject matter and stuff like that, but he is not. Like, he is finding something different all the time. He was driving home, and it had warmed up or something. And there's this kind of, if it's willows or aspens that grow in the field beside the road next to his home. One morning he got up to walk the dog, and he saw that the snow had blown overnight, and there was this kind of vertical line of almost like moss, where there's only snow on one side and not on the other.
Yeah.
And there was this one fallen tree that was a kind of real skinny, that was this diagonal line that was running through these very vertical aspens. And he's like, oh, I got to go back, get the camera and take a picture of this. So he did that. I believe it was a digital image. He did that, and it was some of his more recent work. So I think for him, it's like, what I got out of it was, whatever's going on in front of you, that's what you do. Like, and the whole thing about going somewhere to travel to get some fabulous pictures or something to shake you up or whatever. Well, I'm definitely guilty of doing that. We're going to Japan, but yeah, I mean, I found mushrooms in the backyard 10 years ago, and they're one of my favorite pictures I took with the iPhone. Like, whatever's in front of you, you can, you can elevate or you can capture. And that's just basically what I got out of it.
Okay.
So yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah. So that was Saturday. And then, we were talking about, me going through my Lightroom catalog of the Japan pictures. And I had said that you had asked me if I got what I came for. And I said generally yes, but I was kind of non-committal. Like, I didn't have this kind of, not quite as intimate with the catalog as I am now. And what I was really going for was that, in a lot of ways, was in the bucket that I called night, or I had day, night, daughter, and behind the scenes. The behind the scenes bucket, I think I didn't really spend much energy exploring that at all, except for maybe some wires and stuff, like pointing up at buildings and things. But I don't think it was that terribly interesting. But in terms of the dark, like the night pictures, it's definitely a place that I would shoot night pictures there if I could be there for 3 weeks and just shoot night pictures every night.
Really?
I think I would. Yeah, and I found and I kind of remembered thinking back that there were people who were walking around who looked very sad, and I captured a few of those. And they had that kind of dark, sad quality that was kind of starting to sound like gilded now, but that, we're taken at night, and the kind of charcoal-y quality to the image, which is what I was kind of going for with the Moriyama and Suzuki. Just, I wanted to kind of ape them a little bit, like imitate them a little bit, to see if I could do it. But I think it still has my spin on it, and so I've started to hoard these pictures in a separate folder that hopefully we'll be able to create a zine or something out of it. But
you can. So I mean, you're the stuff you've been posting that I've been seeing is like you can definitely make a nice collection printed from what so far what I'm seeing. If you've got more of that, that's going to be great.
Yeah. So I'm surprised. I'm trying not to be full of myself here, but I was really surprised by my hit rate. Like, even the expression "arebure bokeh," which means what does it mean? Grainy. Bure means blurry, and bokeh, which is out of focus, right? That's where we get the word from. Sorry, I used the B word. But I'm using the context, the Japanese.
No, that's fine.
That was that was kind of a manifesto in the 70s and 60s when Moriyama was going.
That's okay.
Those three words, and so that was going through. So there's some smear, there's some soft focus, there's all that kind of stuff, and this poor young woman who's looking very, very sad. Like, it just adds to the environment, or the environment adds to the kind of emotional depth of the picture. So I think I'm really kind of capturing what I came to capture. So yeah, as 2 or 3 evenings a week, I'll sit down and do, maybe edit 2 or 3 and the ones that are more holiday snaps, as I call them, they're the ones I'm posting to social media, with a few exceptions. I revisited a couple that was having their newlywed pictures taken at Osaka Castle. I posted more traditional wedding picture of them when they were standing for the photographer. So that went up today. So it's a lot of fun going through them and just revisiting and imagining that I'm still there, kind of thing. And I like there's a nostalgia aspect to it too, that I like, and I'm just really, can't wait to get back. And
it's nice that you're taking your time to go through it. I mean, I guess
they're
part
not
of
the kind of pictures,
right?
that I can. It's not like my street pictures that I used to take with Mark, which was sort of like, I get home, I'd upload, get home from work, I'd upload the pictures, and then after dinner, I'd sit down, and then I'd have 3 or 4 that I could, at least if I couldn't post into social media, at least I'd have like a little collection of street pictures. So it was definitely not that. There's so many pictures. Like my racing pictures are sort of like ones, it's hit or miss, and it's mostly miss. So it's easy to pick those up and put them, put them somewhere, put them on social media, or save them into an album. But this is like, there's a lot going on here, and I want to make sure that, and I've gone back, and pictures that I've passed over, I'm like, oh no, this is really what I was looking for. And then I kind of forgot the context that I actually had in my head, my mindset when I was shooting. It's like, no, this is what I intended. So it's kind of fun to see that. And this is the first time where I think I've kind of forgotten what it was I was doing. Like, and I think that's good, because now I'm looking at the images with fresh eyes. There's so many of them, and they're not, my racing pictures where I'm standing in the same place all the time. I'm just going up and down the alleys and up and down the streets, and I see those moments, but there's hundreds and hundreds of those moments, and I can't possibly keep them all on board. I like to think I can, but so I won't be able to say, with any kind of real credence that, this is exactly what I was thinking in this. No, I saw this, I thought it was interesting.
How could you do that? Because you're really of two minds. You're of the mind when you're photographing. Actually, maybe you're of 3 minds. I don't know if that's right. You've got your you had your whole process that you were doing before you were going, right? So you had this idea. Then you're in the spot itself, right? And the rules change, or your brain changes. And then there's the delay of, looking at your pictures over a length of time. And so you're really the picture doesn't exist yet until you go there. And so maybe it's more 2 minds, but I guess you have, when you're visualizing, that's not the right word. You're presetting your expectations of what you're going to go and get, and what you're going to try to ape, and what you're anticipating is one thing. Again, once boots on the ground, the rules change, right? Because
absolutely.
this is not what I was thinking, or this is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And then you're going after it, and then you're not going home immediately with the mindset like you
remembered everything that happened in that hour that I was out. Yeah.
Right. And so now it's how many weeks on? Couple weeks, 3 weeks since
I left on the 28th, came back on the whatever, the 9th. So it's been a month.
Weeks.
A month. I left a month ago today.
Yeah. And of course now your mind is wow, I know, right? And your mind is in a different mindset. And so what I was going to ask you while you were talking is it important to you to wait this amount of time? Because you said you weren't doing that with your street photography.
I didn't think it was. No, I didn't think it was important to wait, but I had a unfortunate thing. My network attached storage died on me.
Ooh.
I do have a good backup. So that happened just before I went to Japan. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to lay low, do a little bit of editing on my computer, and upload and use the computer as a backup. Then last week I bought the new NAS and then plugged it in, and thankfully I was able to just take the drives out of the old NAS, which were in this computer nerd stuff. They were in a RAID 5 configuration, if you know what that means.
Yeah, I know.
So it's stuff is spread out over, equally over those 4 discs. And there has to be the same kind of architecture in the new NASs as the old one in order for them to read right off the bat. And it did. And the first thing it did is it emailed and says, I wasn't shut down properly last time. I was like, so that sounds great to me. It means you're back in business. So then I was able to,
like delayed because of hardware failure.
Because of hardware issues.
Would you have tackled this stuff a little earlier? I mean, obviously it sounds like you would have, right?
Yeah, I might have, but I was just like, there's other things going on, and I couldn't really. I wanted the time to do it right, and really was to plan the week-long recovery effort that it would take to take my backup and put it in to load it back on the NAS. But as it turned out, I didn't have to worry; it was all there.
I'll ask you offline a little bit more details about that. But boys and girls, back your stuff up.
That's right. I have 2 backups of that, and I was ready to do the recovery. But as it turned out, that's the thing about these network storage devices. You have 4 disks, and any one of them can fail, and you can just replace it, and off you go. But the single point of failure is actually the box itself.
The box itself,
where the discs live,
Yeah.
So that's why you have more than one, and I have 2, and I was not going to start loading up pictures onto a backup machine.
I'm glad all that worked out. But
yeah.
All right. So you're going to be going through the. You're going to be going through this stuff for some bit of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably through the summer.
Okay.
I mean, it'll be. Because I'll go back and forth. I'll start from the beginning. Yeah, I think I won't. I mean, my posting to social media will probably slow down to a trickle, and there'll be my rodeo pictures will probably be coming out late in May, early in June, because it's the thing I do. I think I'm going to take the twin lens. The group of us that go out and camp together out at the rodeo. Most of those people have other commitments that weekend, and so. I will be kind of left alone more, which will be fine with me, and I'll bring the twin lens out, shoot some black and white, and I think that'll be my emphasis, and use that lens I bought you to do some rodeo, some of the timed event stuff, and I think that'll be fine. Wow. So there's that. What else is going on? Then Calgary Stampede is in July.
All right. Well, you're just reminding me. I got some gear things I want to tell you about if I can.
Oh, okay. Oh, I meant to just before we jump off.
Yeah.
I went to the camera store. I got my hands on the what is it called? The GFX 100 RF.
RF, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd have to sell all my gear, all my Fuji gear, and then some, another $1,000 probably. Then I could afford to buy that. It was lovely. Oh my. The display, the EVF, it has fairy dust on it or something. It's very compelling. It feels like, it's different than a Leica, but a Leica has a certain energy around it. Like
it's got the Leica on it.
It's got the Leica feels. This has got the Fuji. It's a lighter, it doesn't have this brick-like quality of a Leica, but wow. I could see them selling a lot of them.
Anybody who's not a Fuji person, this is Fuji's new medium format rangefinder style camera that is 100 megapixel, 4:3 ratio, interchangeable. No, it's not interchangeable lenses.
It's not interchangeable.
It's a locked. What is it? I can't remember the lens.
Equivalent to a 28. It's whatever.
28, yeah. It's a very interesting, it's got all the Fuji bells and whistles and stuff like that in terms of like film simulations and whatnot. It does compete pretty well with the Leica Q3. Yeah. And it's fairly reasonably priced for the kind of camera it is. It's like $5,000 or I think it's a couple things. First of all, they stopped all the pre-orders on them here in the United States because of the tariffs. Mm-hmm. So you can't pre-order that camera or the X100 VI or the XM5 in black. None of those cameras can pre-order anymore. So anybody who ordered them ahead of time, they're kind of stuck because you can't get them. Maybe you can go to Canada, but then you're stuck with, like, you know, if they're in Canada and you try to bring them over here, you're gonna have to pay
their duties and warranty implications too.
But that being said, when I first heard that camera came out, I was very intrigued by it, just because I love Fuji stuff. And, you know, the price was, I mean, yeah, it's a $5,000 camera and it only has one lens on it. Mm-hmm. And so, and I was just questioning, for the kind of camera it is 100 megapixels really worth it? Like, those two things didn't seem to go, like, if it was a 50 megapixel, right, which would be closer to the Q3 and a lot of other cameras of that kind, like, and that might bring the cost down a little bit, you know, like, still make it compelling, and maybe they'll still make one of those, who knows. Like, for that kind of street camera use, or like whatever you would use that camera for, that felt like that would be good enough. I couldn't see the 100 megapixel being anything but, like, why? Because 100 megapixels is something that you're going to use for landscapes or billboards or whatnot, and for street photography, it didn't make sense to me. So I was a little bit disappointed by that camera. I like that they're doing it. So anytime Fuji comes out with something new, I'm like, that's really cool. If it was, maybe, you know what? Maybe it's good they didn't do like a less megapixel, because then I'd probably have to sell stuff to go buy it. And like, I really don't want to buy it. I mean, the X100V,
I don't want to store those files. I don't want to, and I would only shoot raw, and I'd not want to store them. But the actual physical presence of the thing, once it calls to you.
The shiny thing, in the corner is like, ooh, look at that, it's nice. Well, okay, I don't think I'll be able to see one for a while, or whatever, and probably good for me not to see it. And I've got more than enough flipping Fuji cameras to last a lifetime. So anyway, that being said, although speaking of cameras, I did get a new camera. Actually. The day that Polaroid emailed me about a new camera, I literally ordered it that day. And it's called the Polaroid. It's called the Polaroid Flip, and it is built on the looking like the old Polaroid 600 camera. So if you go to Polaroid Flip, you'll see it. Basically, it's a Polaroid camera with a flip out flash unit that pops up on the top. It's got sonar focusing, right? There's four lenses.
That's classic.
It's four lenses inside the camera. It still looks like one of their, you know, like regular point and shoot Polaroids, but the sonar focusing allows it to pick the best focus for the whatever lens that it's gonna shoot with, and so the results are supposed to be much better. I've only fired one pack of film through it. A pack of film. The jury is out on that, because it was a new pack. Sorry, I keep saying roll. It was a new pack of film, but for some reason the quality of the images looked like the film was fading or something like that. So I'm not going to judge it yet until I do some more work on it. But I am a big fan of Polaroid's cameras. I know I've got 4 of these things. I've got 2 of their first instant one. I've got their high end one, and now I've got this one. And I am digging instant photography again. I know it's a bit expensive, but we talked about this before. I love the idea of the artifact.
Yeah.
You know, the day my cat Eddie died, or I put him down, and I had the vet come here to do it, so I didn't have to bring him to the vet. I took Polaroids of him, both before and after he passed, and because I knew that picture was made on that day, and that felt so much more. There's more feeling and significance in that photograph. Why would I take a picture of my cat before he dies? Because that's the last time I'm going to see him in physical form, you know? And so those two things meant a lot. And so instant photography has become like, I don't do it a lot. Like I get sort of these bursts, these modes where like I'll buy a bunch of film, I'll shoot it, but then the film I'll stick it in the refrigerator because I haven't, like I have all this intention of like photographing the family party that I went to. And of course, when I'm at the party, I'm more into like being in the party than taking pictures, right? So I don't do this kind of stuff. But this whole shift to moving to another part of the country and really kind of wanting to reinvent myself. And I hate that phrase.
Well, just there's changes and
there's going to be changes in looks. And I was thinking like, wow, what it would be like I have all these options with what new photography I can do and what am I going to do there? And like, wow, what would I pursue with instant photography? How would that be in a place like, Lincoln, Nebraska, the Midwest and stuff like that. So anyway, the not that I bought this camera thinking I would do, to me, this was like the shiny thing on the, anything that Polaroid does, I'm there. I've always loved Polaroid. In fact, I just found, as I'm packing, I found my first Polaroid pictures that I ever took. Well, no,
cool.
Excuse me. No, that's not true. That's not exactly true. It was the first color Polaroid pictures I ever took. Literally the first ones. Like there's no doubt that they were square and they were peel-aways, and I can't remember what the camera was though. I think you told me what it was. It wasn't one that spits it out.
Zip. I had the Zip, which was the 87 type 87 black and white, and then there was the the Swinger was before that.
It might have been a Swinger or whatever was before, but it was color film. I do remember I had to peel
type 88 was the square.
Yeah, so it was to peel it off. But anyway, it's funny that I just found those. They're not holding up perfectly color. They're starting to turn a little blue, but they're still fine. Like they're still good. So anyway, I do have some sort of like ideas. It'd be kind of fun to do portraits, like studio kind of portraits with Polaroids again, do something like that. And that being said, in front of the photo show, there is a gentleman standing there with a Crown graphic camera and a hat flipped up on the side, Australian. You know who I'm talking about, right? This guy's name is Louis Mendez. And he's been a staple of New York. If you go and do a search for him, you'll see what I'm talking about. He's got a Crown graphic in pristine condition with a flash unit on there, and he's a dapper looking gentleman. And me and Keith went over to him and we started talking to him because we were like, Keith was like, I've been seeing you forever. And we just started talking to him. And Keith asked him if he would take our picture. So we paid him $20. He took our photograph and he did an instant picture with his Crown graphic.
Nice.
And I was like, what do you got back there? And he's like, it's a Instax camera back that uses a I can't remember the mount. It's a certain kind of mount that fits on 4x5 cameras. There are these little slides on the back of most 4x5 cameras where you can take the back off of the camera, where you put a ground glass on, or you can put a different kind of film back on. It's kind of a standard mount. And his Crown, he didn't have a Crown graphic, he had a Speed graphic. Speed graphic had this. And I was looking at this and he was like, and so he took the shot of Keith and me, and it was a little overexposed and a little out of frame, but it was one of the wide Instax. So I asked him where he got it, and he got it from Lomography. I said, how much was it? He was like, it was like under $200. I was like, oh, okay. So I started to put two and two together, because as I'm packing up, I took off my shelf the Crown graphic that my dad gave me. And Crown graphic looks exactly like a Speed graphic. It's what we considered an old press camera. And it was folded up. No, actually it wasn't folded up, but the bellows was still in good condition. It's a 4x5 camera, and it's got that same mount on the back. And so when I was at the photo show, I saw him again, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to order this right now. So I went online and I ordered it, and it's coming. It's like $100. Well, it's under $200. It cost me some shipping. And my intention is to put it on my camera and see what happens. Now, he warned me of a couple of issues. One was that you had to have a rangefinder on it, because how are you going to focus? Because you don't have the ground glass. Yeah. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm sorry, I'm not going to explain it to you, but in order to focus a camera, like a 4x5 camera, you have to be able to look at the glass in the back. Otherwise, you guess the distance.
Yeah.
Or you have a rangefinder on the camera that can, line up the images. So I was like, oh, right, I need to figure that out. I didn't think my camera had the rangefinder on it. It does. So I'm like, okay, nice. It's very dusty.
Okay, good. Yeah,
but bellows is still in good condition. But also, he said you have to compensate for like an extra, like half an inch or inch from the film
frame. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it does spit out, a wide Instax thing. And I was thinking, and I saw some of the samples on Lomography's site of some still life and stuff like that. And I was like, that was really appealing to me. Like it just, so I thought for it's a relatively small investment. And hopefully it will work on my camera just fine. I'm sure I'm going to have to do a lot of experimenting and get things, I have to use a light meter, by the way, which I can't wait to use, so anyway, it's back to this instant photography. Also, I've got a little Instax, it's called the Mini 99. It's a Fuji Instax camera. It's kind of a boxy camera. It does the little 2x3 instant film, Instax instant film. It's got some fun features on it, which it's got these little LEDs inside the camera.
Oh, inside the box, yeah.
Inside the box. And they can change colors. And so you can get things like light leaks and blue tone and sepia tone just from these lights turning on and fogging the film ahead of time. And I did a bunch of shots. Actually, I went to Greenwood Cemetery yesterday, and I just used, I had my other camera with me. I had my my medium format with me too, but I did a bunch of stuff with this Instax with different light leaks and stuff like that. And again, I'm just like, it's starting to feel like there's something gelling. I don't know what it is yet, but I saw a lot of Polaroid work at the photo show, and it was really nice to see like these old Polaroids presented, because the Polaroid is almost already like a matted print.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's got that extra, thicker border at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
It does for horizontal long pictures. It doesn't quite make sense because then you've got it off to the side. But for regular, vertical pictures, but for horizontal pictures, it kind of already itself looks like a piece of art, on its own, like a mounted piece of art. So anyway, there's something gelling. I'm not sure what it is yet. It's kind of a foggy kind of thing. I have more than enough cameras, so I don't think I need any more. I did buy one of those I've had a while back, a Polaroid printer. So it uses the Polaroid film, and then you put your image on your iPhone or Android, and you put it on top of the printer, and it prints the picture that's on your phone. And of course, that's not an actual, it's not like a Polaroid in the sense of like you've taken that picture at that moment. So it's not an artifact per se. But I've done some pictures of like portraits or something like that this way, and it's also a nice way to present something to somebody. It's a nice way to give something. Of course, it's like $2 a shot or something like that, or $2 a print. So it's it's a little, you don't want to do this all the time. But anyway, this is just my long-winded way of saying that the Polaroid Instax system thing is something going on. Plus, I don't know if you know this, but I have a 4x5. I just remember this, of course, but I have a 4x5 camera in my closet. It's a Toya, Toya.
Yeah, is that on the it's like a studio camera, right? It's on a tube, right?
On a tube, yeah. It's on a rail, I guess you would call it.
Rail, thank you. The right word.
Yeah, and I don't know if the lens is still working right. I thought I messed it up, but I can't remember. But to do like still life and stuff on like a camera like that with instant film, it's not the old instant film that we used to have, the peel apart stuff or the stuff that made the negative, but it still creates a single artifact. Like whatever I would take with it, that would be the only existing version of that image. And there's really, really something appealing about that. Like having this thing that only exists in one place. There's no backup of it.
Yeah.
Unless I make two of the same pictures, but sometimes even the second picture, because of the looseness in some way of the medium of instant films, every picture, even if you make a duplicate, it's not the exact same.
Deviations, yeah.
Yeah, there's little deviations. So that idea that there's a finished picture that is one of a kind appeals to me a lot, and
cool.
This idea of like making small prints and framing them. I don't know. So who knows? Maybe there's a instant photo studio waiting for me in Lincoln, Nebraska, that unless someone else has done it before, maybe I'll do it there or something.
You'll be Lincoln's first.
Yeah. So anyway, I know we're, well, I guess we are talking about gear. I mean, wanted to buy some gear here before I went there and, play around with it, see if I can get used to it. So, yeah.
Oh, good.
But
I remember I had that HP Sprocket camera I took with me to Daytona, and we were sitting in the stands, and there was a young couple sitting behind us. Printer. Little printer. It's a little.
I was like, a camera. Yeah.
$80 little flat. It's like a wallet size thing, and my XS20 does the Bluetooth, and I could upload to the Fuji X app while we were sitting there. I was saying they really liked this one particular car, so I took a picture with the XS20, and then uploaded to my iPhone to the app, to the X app first, and then from the X app to the Sprocket printing app. And so I printed it and handed in the print. I said, it's a sticker too. And they're like, what? It's like the joy of instant photography. How did it turn out? Did it turn out okay? It turned out great. Yeah.
Really?
It turned out really good. Yeah.
All right.
So maybe I'll send you a picture of the one that I took, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, like, I one time was walking down the street and I took a picture of a father and two kids and I gave them the print, and I realized, like, if I do that, I don't have the picture anymore. I'd have to take another one, which would be a different picture.
Yeah.
There'd be a separate picture, but the idea of giving it to someone, number one, is good. That's why the Instax is nice. Instax is a little bit cheaper, actually a lot cheaper than a Polaroid, and it's kind of a fun little format too. But everything is unique. It's even the one that you give to the person is going to be different than the second one you take, and so anyway.
Well, these ones, the Instax, the Sprocket ones, they're like what? They're less than $1 a piece, I think. I want to say, because they're just little, right? Are they an inch and a half by the Sprocket picture? The Sprocket uses
Z ink or zinc.
Zinc,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, there are Instax printers too that do take Instax home. I got one someplace. I've used that. And it's not that expensive. I mean, it's as an object that has got some sort of longevity and experience to it. Like, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And the Instax printers will hook directly up to a Fuji camera. Mm-hmm. Like the Fuji camera has a section in it where you can just connect directly to an Instax printer, and print it out, So that's about as close as you can get. I mean, that's like one step removed from having to go through an app, but anyway. All right. Well, I know there was a bunch of stuff we want to talk about, but we've been here for a little while.
Exhausted.
So we've been
Stick
doing
a pin in it.
I know. We've been doing these long talks and stuff like that. That's great, but we'll have to put stick a pin in it. We'll bookmark the other stuff. I can't even bookmark it until we get back. Okay. So, but anyway, okay. So that's it. Where are we? We're hearing. I hear the lovely sound of water.
The water from the dishwasher that we forgot not to turn on before the show started. So my apologies.
No,
it ain't sirens. It's soothing. It's like
we have water, we have sirens, we have all these visceral sound effects that let you feel like you're with us in this space. Like, we've created a space between the two of us.
Yes,
we've got these extra ambient, lovely things that we live with. So you just get to experience like as if you're here with us. That's all.
Right. It's just very real.
It is.
So
very
you're
real,
asking
right?
me where you can find me?
Where I don't know. Where can I find you? I mean, besides on in front of me, but yeah.
Okay, you can find me on Vero, Twitter, and Blue Sky at wrosenphoto. I'm on Instagram at wardrosenfineart, which is where I put most of my material, including the Japan pictures that we're seeing. Facebook, I'm Ward Rosen Photo. My website is rosen.ca, and that's all because Ornis Photo is in stasis right now.
We don't have a unofficial sponsor anymore. If anybody wants to be an unofficial sponsor, let us know. Although I'm not sure what that means, but
we could be and you'll get to it, the producer for the individual episodes. That's certainly
individual producer episodes. Yes, that's right. We'll do that. All right.
So that leads us to Antonio. Where can we find you?
Yeah, well, I'm on Blue Sky at AM Rosario, Instagram at AM Rosario Photo. Hey, my website's working again. There was something wrong with it, and so if you go to amrosario.com, it actually works, I think. So you need to check it. Let me know. I'm gonna change it out. I'm gonna get a Squarespace site once I get out to Nebraska. I'm gonna redo it. Anyway, subscribe. Oh, we are getting a lot of Substack. We had a slow constant trickle of people subscribing to our Substack newsletter at streetshots.substack.com. Join us there. We got stuff that we want to tell you in a different format other than podcasts. I have some ideas for that too, so we'll see. And if you want to support the show directly and become a producer for an episode, you can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Antonio Rosario. Yeah. So yeah, Substack. We've been getting a lot of
that's very cool.
We're getting a lot of followers on there. I'm still trying to figure out how to use it entirely because there's a lot of depth to Substack. But I've got a pending article there. I know you said you've got one.
I've got one that we've been sitting on about Daytona.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mr. Editorial here waiting for the perfect time to publish. But yeah, we'll get you up and running at some point. Anyway, thanks for tonight. I had a lot of energy tonight, surprisingly.
And I did. I didn't have as much as I thought. I mean, I had more than I thought. Anyway, whatever my expectation was, it wasn't that.
Okay. All right. Well, can we see you in a couple of weeks? Will that work out for you? Probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. I will be here.
All right. All right. And, everybody, thanks for joining us this week, and have a good rest of the day wherever you are.
All right then. Good night.
Good night. Someone's been watching too much Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, no, it's not just that. I was going to play you another ringtone. That's my ringtone, my official ringtone. But I found another one, and I alluded to it a little bit. The departure tone when the train's going to leave. But when they arrive, they play a different chime. This one. That's the JY line. Nice. So whenever the Yamanote line, the green JY line, it's for the blind people, right? So they know which train it is. And so that plays, and that was playing over, every time the train arrives. So now that's going to be our ringtone for a while. And that's actual Japan Rail sample. So I paid a buck for it, but it was an Apple ringtone.
It's so soft. It's so soft.
Oh, so I can play. I just make it a little loud.
Oh, okay. Where'd you get it?
I got it from the Apple ringtone. It's an Apple ringtone. I just searched for Yamanote line JR Rail, and it came up.
What, on the App Store?
On the App Store, in the ringtone store, yeah.
Oh gosh, I
can listen to it all day. Yamanote.
What was that? Do that again?
Do I do the whole thing?
Yeah, do the whole thing. Yeah.
Yamanote.
That might have to
It's
be
actually a female voice that does it, but
Oh, so do it with a female voice.
I don't have a female voice.
You can do it.
Yamanote.
Yeah, there you go.
Close as I'm gonna get.